Hello everyone, and welcome to my beginner's guide for League of Legends. Today, we'll be going over 15 tips for not only players that start getting into the game, but also for players who already play the game between the ranks of Iron and Gold. Also, a tiny bit of Platinum as well. Before we get into the tips, I would first like to introduce myself. My name is Forgiven Blade. I have been playing the game since Season 3. During the end of Season 11, I reached my peak rank of Grandmaster, 653 LP, which you can see right here on the screen, with a 58% win rate, under 400 games, playing exclusively Yasuo and Yone top lane, being the second player worldwide at the time to achieve something like that. I also have been coaching for Skill Cup and privately for over a year, having great success with multiple students. At the end of the video, I will have something extra for you all, so stick around till the end. So first things first, let's start with the notes I've made here. Let's go one by one and explain them as well. Number 1. Get familiar with the game and how it works. That means that you will have to get some seat time and experience to be more comfortable with the game and everything around it. The champions, the roles, the different concepts of the game, items, runes, etc. 2. Learn about wave management. So when it comes about wave management, there are 3 types. We'll also include clips to showcase you each one of them. There is fast pushing, slow pushing, and freezing. Fast pushing, you might also hear people say the following terms, which are basically the same thing: push or pushing, shoving the wave or shoving in the wave, crush or crushing the wave. That is when you actively start damaging the wave of your opponent and your wave starts to push towards their side in a fast pace. There we go. I cannot afford to fuck up against Riven. Slow pushing is when you start creating a wave advantage and your wave starts to slow push towards the side of your opponent. You get to do that by either damaging the wave significantly, then slowing down the pace by only last hitting the minions, getting them very low on HP, or just last hitting them right before they die.
He said, dog, you know how it go. We can't win them all, but we still at the top. Not going by a new chain every time I drop.
Hello, Donkey. What's up? How you doing? And freezing is when your opponent is either slow or fast pushing the wave towards you. You thin out the wave just enough, leaving about 3 to 5 minions depending on their HP outside the range of your tower. Then your next wave arrives and you have to maintain 3 to 5 minion advantage once again from your opponent's wave to keep the waves meeting at the same spot over and over again. Three, learn the pros and cons of your champion and the champion or champions that you play with or against. So you might wonder, okay, how do I do that? Well, there are 3 ways. And they are the followings. You would like to take a look at some guides. So for example, written and video guides. So written guides will be, for example, on Mobifier. So you can type Mobifier on your search bar plus the name of the champion that you would like to look up. So in this case, we have went for Jhin. Jhin is a fairly popular ADC and people play him quite a bit, so we'll go for him. So first of all, you can take a look at all the guides and the ratings that they got. Usually the ones which are with highest ratings are fairly good, and you would like to be looking out for good guides which are fairly good, like in an overall aspect, if that makes sense. Right? So let's go for this case. Let's go for Taco's Jhin guide. Right, so there are a couple of rune pages over here, for example. So he has 3 rune pages. You can take a look at the notes that there are as well for each one of them. And it goes the same for summoner spells. There might be note left for the spells that you can pick with a champion. Same with the items, as you can see here, for example, there are notes for this, and so on and so forth. So you can take a look at what kind of runes to take, what kind of builds to go for, what items are viable to the champion, so side items, core items, and then about the rest, as we can see here. So situational, which situational items means as well that those items are viable for this champion. You just have to know when you can build each particular item depends on what the item gives you and what you need in that particular game that you play, depending on the team comps and on the state of the game. Right, so that is something very important. So let's skip this. Here you can see as well in what order to upgrade your abilities to. And then we can go down here as well. So runes, there is explanations usually for the runes as well, for the majority of the guides. So you can see here explanation for every single one of them. Scrolling down, we can go then to summoners. As you can see here, for example, Flash and Heal, there is explanation for them as well, right? And then Q, W, and E, there is something like this as well, with a visual representation about each level, what ability to upgrade and to take. Representation as well for the abilities too, which is something important. A description for the abilities, so in this case there is Whisper, right, there is the Q, so passive, then it goes Q, W, E, Alt, right, with explanations for them as well. Then starting items, there's explanations for the items as well, why to go for, why it's good, etc. Scrolling down, you can find those things here as well. There are a couple of extra tips for that particular champion usually. And then you can go down to laning phase, mid game, late game, positioning, right, DPS, target priority, etc. So there is quite some information and guides like this for you to find and get introduced to the champion that you want to pick up, maybe for the champion that you already play, or for the champion that you struggle against, right? So you would like to start learning about those kind of things. And in that case, there is no matchup section up here. Taco has put it down here, as we can see. So there is Ash, Caitlyn, Cassie, etc., right? So the threads. Otherwise, there are usually going to be up here, which should be not in this case. Let's see up here. There we go. So usually you'll have the matchups laid out like this. And when you will have the matchup sections, you would like to make sure that there is a decent amount of information written here and that it is not just empty, right? So something else to keep in mind as well when you will be looking for good guides over at Mobify for the written guides. Then you can type lolwiki plus the name of the champion. Come here, click the first link, and you can get some more detailed information about that particular champion, right? So about the health, mana, all of those things up here, and then it goes down to abilities. So explains the Q. So this basic attack, for example, it goes for the range, how much it has, right? Then it goes for this. Then it goes about for the speed as well, explains what exactly it does, right? Goes for the ratios that it has, etc. Then it goes for the Q here, as we can see as well, right? And there is more explanations and descriptions for those things too. It goes about the magic damage that it deals, how much percentage, right? Then it goes about this one here, root duration, so in case there will be any CC, minimal damage, etc. Right? So there are many things and many information over here at Wiki for League of Legends, and when it comes about the champions that it has in this site. It is also the same about items, so in case you would like to look up some items, you can do the same as well. So you can type, let's say, proto build. So let's go for this one, for example. It's still fine, right? So this is the Q from not Q, but the item from Victor, right? So you can see things like this as well. Or if we type, let's say, Infinity Edge, there we go. We can click Infinity Edge, and you can see as well what the item does, similar items, cost analysis. So you can take a look here as well for this, and some extra things for that over here as well. And then it comes down to the last point, which is video guides. Usually what I like to do and what I recommend to my students to do is type the name of the champion and then either guides, or tips and tricks. Tips and tricks is what I usually will go for. And the channels that I will recommend for things like this will be something like LOL Analyst or LOL Dovi. Great channels for in-depth guides about a particular champion. And then from LOL Dovi, you have even more. So if you go to his channel, then you go playlists to be exact, you can find quite a few videos over here, as you can see, right? So tips and tricks, and he has 94 videos. There is another channel as well called 3 minute. I will say louder for in this case we can find the channel, and there it goes. For this channel, what is great about this is you can find multiple different videos from multiple different champions on multiple different roles in case they can be played in different roles, right? So what I like from here is that when you will go in the videos that he has about the champions, right? For 3 minutes, it goes through the pros and cons, as we can see here. Quickly just going to mute. So it goes about the pros and cons, right, which is something very important. Whenever you play, you would like to play around the pros of your champion and not around the cons, and the opposite exactly for your opponent. You would like to play around their cons and make it as difficult as possible for them to play around the pros, right? Then it goes about abilities, explains them and showcases them as well, skill order, masteries, build order, and then it goes about combos, poke, laning phase, and whatever will be necessary for that particular champion. So in that case, there isn't exactly like laning phase, but if you go for someone, let's say like Garen, if we click here, and we go to the chapters that the video has, it goes to laning phase, as we can see. Then it goes mid game, and then it goes rolling team fights, and most likely there will be a section over here for late game as well, depending once again for the champion, like for the macro aspect of the game in late game, right? So that's something very useful and quite some information that you can get for just 3 minutes that will introduce you very quickly to the champion that you want to play or you want to play against, right? So let's say you go in champion select, you take a look and you see you play against a champion that you've never played against before, right? And you're not quite sure what they do. So what you can do, type the name of the champion, 3-minute guides, take a look at the video, and this way you will know, okay, so they're looking for this, they play this way, they build this, right? The combos are this. So this is very valuable information once you start getting into a game against a champion that you've never played against or you have very little experience. 4. Learn how to trade. This is linked to point number 3. Once you learn the pros and cons of the champion that you play and face, there will be patterns that you'll be following. This is also linked to making a game plan, for which I will make a video about how to make a game plan from start to finish in a very simple yet detailed way, which will be easily digestible by anyone. 5. Learn how to move your camera and mouse / how to click. About camera control, you need to learn when to have your camera locked and when unlocked. Camera control tips. Have your camera unlocked when there is something around you happening at another part of the map so you can see precisely what is happening there. For example, that will be when your jungler is fighting with someone. There is a skirmish while you go to a team fight or during a team fight as well. If you can see everything that you need in front of you with your camera being locked, then there is not a lot of space being wasted on your screen, then keep it locked. How to click and move your mouse. For that, you will need to have your DPI lower than usually, something like 800 to 1000 DPI, and 50 to 60 in-game speed. This way your movements are going to be much more precise without doing anything unnecessary. Tips for that. Do not spam right click on your target. Always auto attack move, auto attack move, auto attack move. This way you are always moving, making it more difficult for your opponents to land skill shots on you. You can keep up with them, you become much more efficient and deal much more damage per second. Do not be clicking way too far away from your character or targets, otherwise you are covering way too much distance travel with your cursor and you become very inefficient with slow reaction time. Click more, but also make sure to be accurate. More movement inputs make you much more difficult to predict and actions per minute become much higher. Remember, the game is very high pace. 6. How to make a game plan. I'll be posting a video specifically for junglers and also for the rest of the lanes within the next few days, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified when the video is released. But to quickly explain why it is important to make a game plan. Imagine you go in the forest, but you have no specific direction to go to. You will feel lost and have no idea what to do, but if you do have a game plan and have a good one, that is, you will have a specific direction to move to, and things become much simpler, thus you can pay more attention to the rest of the game since less things are occupying your attention. 7. Learn good habits first. instead of bad ones, and then to unlearn the bad ones and relearn good habits. The process becomes much easier and simpler this way, and you will not make things more difficult than they're supposed to be. 8. Chat is rarely being used properly, so it is better to have it off for 95% of the games that you play. I'd recommend to enable it when you have to say something useful to your teammates and immediately disable it right after you are done typing what to type. If someone is spam pinging, make sure to mute his pings. This way, you're going to be able to focus on the game and on what you do instead of paying attention to what your teammates, who you cannot control, do. 9. Pick up simple champions as a beginning, because if you get someone, let's say like Riven or Yasuo as a first champion, you'll have to pay much more attention to the mechanics to properly utilize the champion, and this way you cannot properly focus on the concepts of the game like wave management, trading, how to position, how to click, how to move your camera, paying attention to the minimap, so on and so forth. 10. Remember it's better to play 3 quality games today rather than 6 mediocre ones. So this kind of comes to learn good habits first instead of bad ones. So the reason for that is because let's say you play 6 games and you play 2 of them very well, but the rest are going to be like kind of shit, right? If you do that, then you're building bad habits in the meantime, because if you do not play close to your full potential, or if you are not paying 100% attention to the game or something close to that, you will start making mistakes, bad plays, and once you are a new player, or even if you are somebody who's playing the game for quite some time, if you go and play when you should not be playing, you will play poorly. Do this over and over and over and over and over again, and this is how you build habits, right? And in this case, it is bad habits, so you do not want to do that. 11. Figure out your settings. So for this, usually you would like to try things out, try different settings and see what fits you the best and what you feel the most comfortable with. But in case you are going to be interested for what exactly I use, I'll be making a video as well in the future about that. So make sure to subscribe and to hit the notification bell as well. 12. Use practice tool to your advantage. So the way you can use practice tool will be, for example, for wave management, champion abilities, the combos that they do, how much damage do they output, clearing jungle camps, the paths you take, camera control, how you click, how you move your mouse, etc. 13. The more you understand, the more things make sense. So this can be used as information or to keep yourself for moments when, for example, you play, let's say, against a champion, right? And you're not experienced against this champion. The reason why you would feel confused or you will not be quite sure what to do against them, or you just, for the sake of it, you just simply cannot win, will be simply because you do not understand what you're playing against. So anything that doesn't really make a lot of sense to you or you do not understand, for it to make sense and for you to be able to deal with this specific thing, you need to learn more about that specific thing. Is it the champion? Is it an item? Is it a rune? Whatever it is, you need to learn more about that specific thing. Then you will be able to understand it, and once you understand it, you would like to start figuring out ways how to deal with it. 14. Minimap awareness. About this, I will link a video down in the description, so check it out and play this whenever you go in a game. This will help you build the habit of checking out the minimap without having to consciously think about, okay, I have to check the minimap, I have to check the minimap, I have to check the minimap. Once you hear this noise in the background from this video, just immediately make sure to check the minimap, and this will help out you just build this habit of checking out the minimap as frequently as possible. Limit test as well as much as possible to find out what your champion is capable of doing. The psychological part of the game as well is much more important than just having the knowledge. Because if you have the knowledge, but you are not able to use it consistently, because you maybe tilt, you get mad, you're not calm, right? You will have all this information, but you might be able to utilize the majority of it, if not all of it, like let's say 1 or 2 games out of 10, right? And during the other games, you're going to be very inconsistent. You'll either be average, maybe you'll play very bad, or you might like feed so much. So focus on that a lot. You need to be as calm as possible. Focus on the things that you can control and that you can influence, and not on things that you cannot control, right? Like your teammates, let's say, for example. And once you are going to be in such state of mind, you'll be able to play much more efficiently and much more better, thus having better and much faster results as well. If you have any questions regarding what I have talked about up to this point in this video, please make sure to comment below and ask me, or maybe you can add me on Discord and let me know over there. If you would like me to make a video on a specific topic that you would like, please once again comment down below and I will make sure to ignore your suggestions. And also make sure to check out my Twitch/Kick channel and also my Discord. I also offer private coaching. If you would like to know more about that, make sure to join my Discord server, and there will be more information about that over there. Otherwise, if you'd like to DM me over at Discord privately for something that maybe I will be able to help, please do not hesitate. My Discord name and tag are ForgivenBlade #6412. So that's going to be it. Make sure to stay tuned for the videos that will be coming very soon. So within the next 3 to 5 days, I will post 2 videos about how to make a game plan for junglers specifically, and one more video for the rest of the lanes, top, mid, ADC support. And once again, if anything else will come as an idea for a video, or you will have any questions regarding anything that has been talked about in this video, please let me know. One of the girls, oh yeah, I'm